Hi, my name's Shaun, former British serviceman and Ukrainian Marine. Welcome back to a two-part episode of Sentenced to Death, my chat with Brahim Saadoun, who was in captivity with me and exchanged in late September of 2022. Some of the subjects we do talk about are emotive and emotional. However, as a coping mechanism, we sort of deal with it with a gallows humour. So you'll hear us joke and laugh about some of the situations we found ourselves in, but bear in mind this is an emotional subject for us both.
Hey, we're back for part two.
Part
With
two,
Brahim
part two.
Saadoun. I'm so happy to speak to you again. I've been really looking forward to this because it's like really the crunch episode, really part of the episode, with all the shit and the gory details. And we just started on the torture and bits and pieces like that. So we're gonna crack on with what I want to do is really talk about. First of all, let's talk. We touched on the black site, and we've just arrived somewhere around sort of I've arrived the 13th of April. You were there around the same time, captured around the same time. I think probably with
Mhm.
a couple of weeks to give a time frame before we were put in the same cell. And I've just got to say, what an amazing coincidence! We did the first part of the episode last week, and lo and
Sure.
behold, Vlad was exchanged.
Glad, yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't even connect the dots. Actually, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
actually very true.
Couldn't believe it. For those that don't know, quick one. I talked about Dimitri in my book. His real name's Vlad. We had to change the names to protect the guys that are in there. And he was exchanged this weekend after 3 years of living in a broom closet. So it's great to see him home. But yeah, I mean, we met with you, me, Vlad in the cell. It was such a breath of fresh air when you came in. What was your first impressions when you sort of got into the cell with us at the black side?
You guys, I mean, first thing, humans. I'm gonna have human interaction finally after long, like weeks of solitary confinement was gonna lose my mind. Just staring at a wall. Uh, yeah, I immediately just started chatting, but obviously I was worried who's snitching and who's got turned in.
Yeah.
You got to be real cautious with that. At the same time, you got to have your human interaction. So I was at first trying to sniff around if you guys are safe and all, and I'm pretty sure you guys are doing the same to me.
We
It's
were,
a
yeah.
mutual, it's a mutual feeling you have at the beginning when you meet in those type of surroundings and environments.
Yeah.
Never fully comfortable.
No, because you don't know if you tell somebody something, they're going to interrogate them straight after you leave the cell for your
Sure.
interrogation. So the guys are going to get beaten, and Vlad got such a smack, didn't he? That time.
Oh yeah, he was getting smacked that time. They were calling him Sniper, if you
That's
remember.
right. Yeah, they kept
Yeah,
calling him
Sniper.
sniper.
They
Yeah.
kept calling him Sniper. By the way, the Russians seem to have a kink on snipers, maybe from World War II movies or something. They keep
That's what he keeps saying.
with snipers. They just think that snipers are some like gods in the battlefield that just the ones that kill the most people, but it's completely wrong. It's the artillery guys that kill the most people in
Yeah,
the
now
modern
drones, I
warfare.
suppose.
Yeah, and drones and artillery, but like sniper. Oh, he's sniper, super special sniper. Yes,
I didn't
you
get
know.
that. I got
Sniper Cook.
Sean Peter.
Sean Peter, Sniper Cook.
And I had this joke like 300 times, and each Russian would come and go, that's a good joke because your name, Peter, sounded like Peter. And I used to just
And
go,
you had to forcibly laugh, or else you're gonna get a
oh,
bad
that's a
nap. Your
good one, pal. That is. Not heard that one before. You know. Oh man, I used to just hate.
painful times.
No, the black site was really gauged for people picked on characters, so you couldn't build any rapport or anything like
Yep.
that. You just had to take the beatings every fucking day. It's just
Yep.
shit.
I mean, for the black site, it was a period for us that we didn't know Well, we didn't know what's going on the majority of time, but for the black site, it was especially risky because nobody knew where you were, and you were kept in the basement on purpose. We didn't know what they're gonna do with us. At least when we
No.
were in the main prison site where they held the other POWs, we knew that, all right, we're starting to get mainstream a little bit. Our word is starting to get out. Not like being kept in the broom stick room and like just the camera and and the poo bucket.
Yeah, yeah. And poor old Vlad had been there like 30 days before we'd been there. And he was like he was like a guinea pig of what we'd look like in 30 more days.
Yeah, we were always looking at signs of
Like, so if his teeth fell out, we are like, oh,
yeah,
dear.
we were like if his teeth didn't fall out, we're fine.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
spread. But it was actually a real concern, our health. Still, we were noticing that our energy went extremely low, like extremely, extremely low. And somewhat we were just in survival mode, like taking a couple of steps back and forth and then just
Yeah.
sitting down.
And that was like a highlight of the day for like two
Yeah.
months in a 1 by 3 broom closet, which was just
Yep. Everybody
crazy,
had
to
to
be
sit
honest.
down, so you walk past us like this, back and forth.
But yeah, you could only walk one at a time, and Vlad
Yep.
got beaten up because he had his hood over his
Oh
head.
yeah, I remember that
Remember?
time. Let me tell you about that time because I was the only one actually awake. So I was the one awake, and I was like, guys, I'll tell you when they're coming. If the gods come, I'll wake you up. And you guys, what you usually do because you had hoods, I didn't have mine. You guys used to do like
Yeah.
it was actually so funny because I was looking at you guys and I was like, the camera was here. It was like sleeping in a classroom, and they're not trying to get the teacher to notice you. And you guys were like this. Vlad was actually falling asleep a little bit too much, so he was like. And I was like, Vlad, wake up. You're going to get us into trouble. I told him this the first time, if you remember. And he was like, oh, fine, fine. And then we heard the steps like rustling, like, you
Yeah,
can hear
yeah.
them coming downstairs. It's like, this bitch, you're sleeping. You're sleeping. And we're like, oh, what? What? What?
I
And then they were
wasn't
like,
sleeping. I wasn't sleeping.
no. I was like, and then they were like, sniper. And then they took him out, and he
Took
was
him
like,
outside.
"What?" It was like, "Go outside, come outside." We didn't think he was going to beat him out. I thought he was going to chat with him because we always thought that Vlad was not getting touched because he spoke Russian. So they
Mm.
took him out, and then he got battered. Like, and they threw this bucket on his head at the end. If you remember, they just threw it on his head, and then they
Yeah.
were like, Morocco. Like, what? Why me?
I,
I
I
just.
was shitting myself. I'm not kid you not. I was the last one, and I was thinking, oh my God. And I saw you were thinking,
Yeah, because it's common sense. The first one's out, the second one right next to you is out, the third one's gonna be you. It took me out, beat me. I was like, they beat me. I was like, why me? This- and he told me because you let him fall asleep, and then he just closed his cell,
he
and they
closed the
didn't
cell,
touch
and I
him.
was fine. I was sitting in the corner going, holy fuck, I think I'm not going to get beaten up. And I was just sitting there going, what the hell just happened there? It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's just I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, and then from that day, I wouldn't let you guys fall asleep because
no,
I
nobody
would
fell
get beat
asleep.
up. You got a good nap, and I just awake the whole time. I got beat up for
But
that.
it was so hard with the bread because you need so much water to digest the only thing you
Yeah.
eat
Oh,
is
yeah. It was
bread.
carbs. Literally just
And you just
carbs.
get the bread sleeps. And it's just like,
Yeah, the bread sleeps. Exactly. The bread sleeps. I remember that term. I got the bread sleeps. Not feeling the bread. Oh, wow. And if you remember, actually, from this time when we used to go out and our handler, the lawyer, used to give us something like just a piece of candy or something. We get
yeah,
that sugar. We get like a sugar spike from that thing. It's
yeah,
as
yeah,
if
yeah.
it's as if we took a shot of some drug or something.
Yeah, you
Like,
could
oh,
taste the
sugar,
feel
sugar.
everything going into your body at one point. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
nothing in it.
You
Yeah.
felt you felt crazy, with only candy. Actually, We were wishing to be taken out to the prosecutor's office just a chance to get candy from someone.
I miss, yeah, we at the end you look forward to getting out because you're just stuck in that cell all day. So you'd end up like, oh,
Yeah.
anyway, just take me anywhere sort of thing.
When we also like, if you keep in mind, every time we're about to get out, the worst part was our handlers that were going to take us from point A to point B. That was the
Yeah.
worst part.
They were totally unpredictable. And that was the
Yep,
biggest problem at the black site. It wasn't so much the interrogations in the end, it was the unpredictability of the guards.
exactly, exactly. For the black
Because
side, it was the unpredictability. Yep,
so I mean I got used for a lot of propaganda and at that point all I was concerned about was getting on the TV. Because I was then starting to understand that if we get on the TV, then people are going to know where we are. And we were looking about that time, we were looking towards, I think, May, the Russian. Do you remember where were you? The Russian victory
oh
day?
wow, Russian Victory Day.
Yeah, May 9th. Was it May
So
9th? Yeah.
yeah, so the DNR they have their day one day after the Russian one,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
correct? Because I remember they were forcing us to learn their national anthem and to
that's right.
remember
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and to remember their date. I mean, they just we had remember that printed paper
We had
with
to read
their
the Donbass poem,
yeah, the Donbass poem,
learn the
and like you
lyrics.
remember one time I had a temper tantrum, and I was like gonna just take this paper and cut it apart. You were like, no, no, okay. It was like
We
it
are
was like
literally
the
going to die if you do that.
yes, it was literally like that Bible we hated. We had to keep it like that, like in a nice, neat format, in a nice shape. That paper was in a better condition than us, as
It
actually.
was actually, it was in much better condition than us and treated much better.
It was treated much better. It got the best spot. It actually wasn't put on the floor, if you remember. It was put like on the the canvas or whatever we were sitting on, whatever that thing was it had its own spot, you know?
Did we? I talk a lot about now about RT Russia Today and their impact in the torture, their part in
Oh yeah.
torturing
Mm.
Ukrainian prisoners. I mean, we did. I didn't get a chance to go and really sign anything or waiver or I wasn't given a choice. I was literally bundled into a prison van, taken somewhere, beaten the crap out of, stuffed in front
Sure.
of an RT presenter. Hood was removed, and there he was joking with the ferry guys that were just beating the shit out of us and
Yeah.
dropping our food rations. So I talk about that quite a bit. I want to know your sort of take on it.
So my first, actually, my first contact with the Russian propaganda, funny enough, was for this guy that has his YouTube channel, works with RT as well. His channel was called Sladkov Plus on YouTube. He works with RT. His channel got removed now. He's a war reporter. So, usual procedure, get taken out and just get battered on the way. And I just get put into this room. I didn't know what's going on. Actually, it was the first room I get put in, and literally the guy before he removes my hood, he was like, "Do you want to get beat up?" I was like, "No." He was like, "You better talk well, then." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Okay," and they're like, "Okay." He moved the plastic bag, and that guy's just sitting in front of me, and this camera crew and everything is fairy tale. Right behind him, there's the guys that beat us, our handlers from the black site with the balaclavas, if you remember,
Mm.
and just like looking at me like this. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
and then he's like, Brahim, and you start to ask me questions like this, and I'm like, oh, everything's okay. No, it's because the guy's right back. This actually, the question I got a lot here is like, why? What about the interviews? You said this during the interviews. You said this during the interviews. You said this, and they keep following me for this. Like, guys, this is not an actual interview. I'm saying things to stay safe. I'm
Yeah.
saying things to stay safe. People
Yeah.
understand this in most of the part of the developed world, but unfortunately, in the third world where I live right now, they don't understand this. They think it was a voluntary interview. I said what I said. It was.
Yeah.
How can that be even possible? I was saying things to protect myself and protect my mates.
Yeah.
I would literally say anything if they would
You
said
end up talking junk and trying to be boring to try and avoid it, and they're on a time frame as well, the media. So you pan
exactly.
it out and skip it, and you have to work like that. Nothing I really said was anything about Ukraine and things like that. But I find it really
It's
hard
try it's
now.
trying to talk down yourself as much as possible and be
Yeah,
boring. "Oh, well,
yeah.
I'm just a guy. I'm
I'm
just a
just a
guy that
cook.
a cook. I have some problems in life, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
trying to be least. And what they don't understand with the Russian propaganda is that it's extremely, extremely what they do. The editing part. They don't realize how many frames we've said something and it was cut out, and they just took the part where you're like. Yeah, we were joking about this if you remember when we came
yeah.
back from the cell from the interviews. We were like, they're gonna like cut it so hard it's gonna be like, sniper, cook, Azov, neo-Nazi battalion.
Yeah, yeah,
Remember?
yeah.
We were joking about this a
Yeah,
lot.
put a nice little Nazi red sash on
Yeah,
on
yeah.
your arm, and I kill
Sean Pitton,
Russian babies.
sniper cook.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was so funny,
It was
dude. And it's
so
actually
bad.
true. When we got out and we looked at the interviews, you can see the editing just
Yeah,
cut entire parts out.
and
It's
this is all for
ridiculous.
like public opinion. I mean, it's all domesticated. It's like you're a Nazi. One journalist sort of said, "Did you bring your weapons over from England?" I was like, "Do you know the gun laws in England?" Of course, no. It was just leading questions that were fitting
Yep.
the narrative, and we weren't given a chance to even do anything. It got frustrating. I mean, that led to the trial, and once you realise that you're going into the trial and it's loaded, it makes you kind of angry, and I was quite angry.
I mean, everybody was
And
angry. Who wasn't?
I've got to admit, you were the staunch one, and you were the one that was saying we should just say not guilty. And by that time, it was
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
I had a feeling. I had a feeling. Not even a feeling. It was actually like just a good idea, Just don't say. And then they were like, I was like, no, not guilty. And they were like, stop the trial.
the
Cameras
trial.
off.
Yeah,
Cameras off. I want to talk about this so the guys understand because they were not put in this perspective. They only see what's on TV. Guys, it's a kangaroo trial. Literally, after I said I'm not guilty, stop. The judge stopped. Everybody stopped in coordination, as if everybody's just
yeah,
doing it for that piece of media, for that camera. And then those lawyers came to us and was like, "Hey, say you're guilty. Say you're guilty.
yeah. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Start again. Start again.
Start again.
I'm guilty."
Yeah.
And they just took that part.
You can't possibly be not guilty because you're here and it's the courts.
They told us, if you remember, that if you say you're guilty, you're not going to get executed.
That's right. Yeah, manipulation.
That's
Yeah.
what they convinced us with, because I wouldn't have
Yeah.
said it anyway. So they said, look, if you say not guilty, you're going to get the maximum sentence. You're going to get executed. Say not guilty, and you may have another chance. Say guilty, and you're going to have more chance.
Yeah.
I'm guilty.
I'm guilty.
This
Yeah.
is why we said it with such passion. They got it with it, like even you're trying to save your life. People don't realize these things happening in the
No.
background.
I never
Yeah,
saw a lawyer either. I mean, I got one lawyer when I went to the prosecutor's office, and then when we got to
lawyer,
the trial, I had my lawyer man turn into a woman, and nobody even talked to me for the whole time.
so-called lawyer, by the way, and
So-called lawyer.
so-called lawyer that he's not even a proper lawyer. If you remember, to protect the identity of guys, we had a talk with them, and they were like, "Oh, those guys, those are not lawyers. They work with the MGB, the Ministry of Internal Affairs."
Yeah, they're all part of
And,
the system.
system. Be like, "All right, we guessed it just from the behavior."
Just crazy. I mean, and then in the trial, I mean, it was one of the funniest things was because I'm actually going to trial next week in Kiev, taking those judges to court in a trial. So we'll be able to get away.
Unfortunately, I can't show up
No,
due
you
to the
can't. This is why we're
conditions.
going to talk about this in a bit.
Yes,
Anyway.
unfortunately, yeah.
But we're going to talk about that. But we're going to go take them to the trial. One of them was assassinated, and I believe. But the funny thing was when they said, "Would you like one judge or three?" And we were like, "Yeah, okay, three.
I can have
It
three.
might need a day to get at least three judges in." No, they were back there, all cloaked up.
Yeah,
Ready to
right,
go.
right, ready. Yeah, yeah. Just see that I'm just ready.
Holy
That was
fuck.
funny. Didn't make a single difference though.
No, nothing. No, I got quite angry in the trial, to be fair. Even the judge had to go. Do you remember the judge having a go at me in the trial? Do you see Russia in there? It's like,
Yeah.
dude, there's a picture of Putin in the next office, all for the cameras.
You actually had to go with the judge and the prosecutor. It was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
I
Prosecutor lost his temper at some point because you were arguing back and then you're like,
just lost it in the end.
we're,
I'm like,
we're mercenaries, we're contract soldiers. You have the documents, you can't consider, but you kill Donetsk babies. It's just
oh my God. I looked around at you two, and you two were like that.
sure I remember.
Oh,
That's
I was
ridiculous.
so angry that we just couldn't get our stuff, we couldn't get anywhere. We just couldn't get, and then within 2 or 3 days, we'd had the fucking death penalty. I mean, it was like crazy. It was
You
just,
remember during the trial for the death penalty, the three judges, one of them was sleeping.
yeah, that's
It's
right.
actually on the
Yeah,
photograph for RT when they took the photographs. it was one of them me telling you something, like telling you look there. And it
It's
was about the judge. It was literally sleeping. I was like, do you remember? I was like, Shaun,
like,
like, he's literally sleeping.
do you remember they saw us and they started to move the microphone a bit closer to the cage because we were chatting?
I was like,
Like,
yeah.
like,
That's ridiculous. And when he read the sentence, we didn't even realize he read it.
no,
We
I
just
didn't
he just finished
understand.
talking. He just finished talking, and then we went to the translator, and he was like, "Hey, so what's up? Did he give his suggestion?" He was like, "Yes." By the way, if you remember the translator, he was horrible in English.
Oh,
She
it's
was aw- it's
horrible.
just
If you
she
guys
was
are saying that she's
awful.
not even translating what you're
We
saying
probably got the death sentence because of her.
because of
She's
my translator was shit.
just shit. She was the only one there, so I asked her. It was like, "What's up?" She was like, "Yes." Is that a sentence? But why
Yeah.
you just give it like that?
Is
We
your
didn't even
client guilty? Yes.
yes.
Ah. No, no, I'm not. He
It's
is
ridiculous.
guilty.
You had a go at her as well during the trial. I remember that the translator, he was like, "Can I have another translator?" She's like,
I've lost it by the trial. There's pictures of me looking like a bulldog chewing a wasp. I was like, really
"Yes, yeah." Like,
pissed off, skinny, angry. I think a couple of days later, I was really shocked and a bit. That's when the self-induced pressures kick in, I think, and then you go, I just got a fucking death penalty. It's like
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And I think that, so. Just before the trial, we moved to Mckifka, and
Yep.
it'd be fair to say Mckifka was a lot easier prison than the black site.
Compared to the black site.
It
Yeah,
was still
for sure.
shit, but it was an open prison. We were told we were going to be POWs. I remember seeing you and being put in a room with you, and I was thinking, oh, we're all together for the first time. And then we met Dylan and Paul Yuri,
Everybody.
who
Paul Yuri.
unfortunately died later on.
Yeah, everybody.
But yeah, we got in there and we met sort of the NGOs, and then we met the Swede, and we realised who was caught, who wasn't, how many people were
Yep.
captured because I didn't know, and we met up with John Hardin. It was John Hardin, and we couldn't get the
Yeah.
information to because he was
Finally.
tone deaf. His hearing had gone. So yeah, we were in Mount Mckifka, and then basically, I mean, we got a little bit of time to talk through Mckifka, but when we got there, the artillery guns weren't as bad as when we left. Clearly, Ukraine was moving into Mckifka and getting closer, essentially getting
Yeah,
40
we would be
kilometers
hearing the
away.
artillery guns firing and the landing. So every time we could hear that the firing point getting slightly closer, if you remember, right? And at the same time where it lands, also get closer. One time, maybe you remember, it landed right outside the prison, that the prison walls shook and the window. And I think one window even smashed, if you remember.
Yeah, I mean, it was thought it was going to get liberated before it was going to get exchanged.
Yeah, that's what kept us going, actually. It's the happiness. Every time we hear an artillery round, you remember that we were so happy to hear it was our
Yeah.
guys, right?
We're so happy because we used to have those like meetings in the courtyard, and those used
Yeah,
to be hilarious.
yeah. Meetings, but we were separated, so they put one group. So just to keep the guys in context, first they crammed us in one cell. We were like 7 people, and then they separated us. They put us in two different groups, with three. So we were just like separated by a huge wall, and we were just like screaming over the wall. And when the guard is there, we're like, Dylan, Dylan. If you remember, they kept mixing us. By the way, they kept changing us from each other, but that got me a little bit suspicious, honestly, with them changing, swapping us between each other.
Yeah,
I
it's
was like, they're probably listening to us. This is what I thought. The
that's what
biggest
I thought.
fear
But
is,
then none of them could really
yeah.
speak English, could they?
Yeah, they were horrible, but still, I had concerns and fears that they're gonna bring somebody, or somebody within us was actually a
Yeah,
rat. So that was a main concern. It never leaves you, actually, somebody being a rat, especially after the betrayal from Mariupol. It doesn't leave you.
no, no, no. I mean, that's hard hitting. I mean, it was really hard when I got out to see. You want to know the news, what happened while you was in. you know, and snippets of information we got from Paul Yuri. And while he was in the black site was, you know, the Mckifka, he'd got caught after the Mckifka had sunk. So he was able to come
Yep.
in and sort of tell us that, no, we just sunk the flagship. And we were like, that gave us a buzz for days, that did. We were like,
Yeah, and also he told us variable intelligence that the world is against Russia for what it's doing. We
yeah,
did not know because we were pretty much cut out from the outside in
yeah,
Mariupol, no internet, no nothing. He told us this variable insight that Ukraine will receive weapons and shipments from the UK and sending them like a lot of NLAWs and anti-tank weapons that Ukraine is beating them up, smashed them in Kiev, Oblast, if you remember.
yeah, you give us all the good
Uh,
news. I
yeah, that
did
really
think it
kept
was
us going.
funny when he just sort of said, what's your name? And I was saying, Shaun. He went, oh, Shaun Penner. And I went, yeah. He went, oh, I am fucked. I just see you all over the news. And I was like, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. So unfortunately, when we got to Mckifka, I mean, he was a product of the torture regime, basically. I mean, he went to the prosecutor's office, got severely beaten, and by
Yeah,
all accounts died. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I had
You
this.
know more
I had
about it
this.
than me. Talk about that.
Yeah, I had this. I had a close speak with him actually when he was actually during his last days. I had a conversation with him. What's going on? Because he could barely breathe. You know, I
Yeah.
was in the same cell with him. We could sleep because he was just hyperventilating, like night and day. He couldn't eat. He was throwing up all the time. We asked the guard for medical attention, and they were like, he's just panicking. He just panicked because they just roughed him up a little bit. We're like, help, we need a medic, you know, and they was like, just played it off. The second day, I had a conversation, and I was like, what's wrong? This is really just persisting, you know, it's too much. And he said they literally jumped over his chest and neck, like stood over him and just jumped over him, beat him up, punched him in the face multiple times, and beat him up and electrocuted him. And he lost a tooth actually. There was bleeding from his mouth as well. And the second day I called the guard and I was like, this is urgent. He's gonna die here. He's gonna die here because the guy was really turning yellow. You know, he's starting to lose his blood. Uh, and the guy was like, okay, I'll medic not available today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow he checked him and he said nothing. He's good. You remember that the medics there? They literally just, oh, he's all good.
Yeah,
Like we
yeah.
had
Oh,
severe intoxication,
diclofenac.
severe,
Diclofenac, that's all you need.
yeah, severe intoxication, we're malnutrition, and they're like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, have chocolate. I was like,
Yeah, have charcoal.
back what country are we in? You know, just give me some proper drinking water. That'd be nice.
So after a while, he stayed there, and then he just couldn't
Yeah,
even
we went
walk to
out
the
for a walk and
toilet.
we came back in, he was dead.
He couldn't even walk to the
We couldn't walk
toilet.
or anything. There's
He
nothing we could do.
just collapsed all the time. We had to put him back in bed, and then we just the guy told us, "Who's going for a walk?" We're like, "Us," but him, he can't go. So we went. We came back. We found dead on the floor.
He was
Just
dead on the
literally,
floor.
he was on the bed and he was laying on the floor. But we didn't just find it like that. The guard came to us during in that cell where we do the walk, and he was like, "Go back fast, quick, hurry up!" He was like panicking. He was like, what the fuck? What the hell's going on?" I'm looking at everybody in the back, you know, and
Yeah, he was bad. And
uh,
he wasn't a bad guard, was he, really, Misha?
no, no. I don't want to say his name to protect him, but he was really not a bad person. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like he's just stuck in this situation. That's what he is.
Yeah, I found that in
He's
Mckifka.
stuck in this situation. So he took us there. We came in, and he was dead. And I was like, you know what? First thing came to my mind. This is a setup. This
Yeah.
is immediately. This is a setup. They're gonna play. You killed him. So I started to look at the others, and I was like, "This is going to be a setup. They're going to blame this to us. You
Yeah.
know, they're going to blame it to us." So the guards panicking and stuff. Um,
And
they
who else comes
he's
in? RT, Roman Kozarev, comes in,
yeah,
does the broadcast from outside the cell. And I was just like, mother. It's like that guy again. You know, Paul Yuri, terrorist. And I was like,
yeah,
terrorist is an NGO worker, never left the country he was working in. You
yeah,
know, he's not a terrorist. And he's like, yeah, suspected terrorist Paul Yuri dies from natural causes. And we were like through the doors going, Good bullshit.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember natural calls.
He had to move to do
Natural
his
call.
broadcast down the
And
way.
if you remember, actually, we could hear. I actually started to get scared a lot because we could hear outside of the cell that the activity was a lot more. If you remember, outside the cell, the only thing we could hear is the music in the
Yeah.
speaker from the God room. But then we could hear people running back and forth.
And more
And
so when
then,
the Americans turned up, there was more activity then as well.
yeah, and especially when Paul Yuri died, we were listening, if you remember that day, and then we heard that an FSB general is here.
Yeah, it's the
A
only
general.
time I ever heard FSB mentioned. Ever.
Yeah, in that prison, in the black side, we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
we were, but in that prison, when we heard FSB general, especially when the guard said it in a panicking way,
He's
we were like,
panicking,
oh,
yeah.
I was like,
Um,
shit, I think we're gonna get beat.
he's like,
We're gonna
Tut?
get a rough. We're
FSB
gonna get
Tut?
it.
Yeah. And I
Yes.
was like, guys, the FSB's turned up. It was like, this is shit. This is going down the pan. But they were quick to bring in
Yeah.
the media and pump it out on the media.
Yeah,
And
they were really fast. I mean, when they manufacture things, I'll tell you a funny story though. So they swapped us, right? Remember, I was with you, and then they swapped us. And when the media was coming, they brought a TV and they put it in my room.
yeah, I was going to talk to you about that. Yeah. They wanted to show this cell that you were make believe living in.
I mean, how many times did we ask for a TV because we saw other prisoners having them?
Yeah, they wanted you sweeten you up for the news and stuff, so they put a TV in your room.
The funny part is,
We couldn't say
but
anything.
yeah, funny part is they put the TV there. The guy comes in, starts asking us questions. When we say something he doesn't like, he's like, wait, stop, 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 stop. Tell me, tell me about that part of Paul Yuri mercenary money. How much Paul Yuri money? Well, no. Talk about I'm like no, mercenary was an NGO. No. Let's talk about something else. So what about just
Yeah.
and then at the
No,
end,
no, no. This
they
is not register here.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, remember
You need to. What's my
they
name?
just
Mercenary.
yes, like we it was outrageous. We kept talking about it for days, how outrageous that was and how it felt. It's like people right now they're like okay, so for people that didn't live in our places, they're like, why did the West ban RT and Western and Russian media outlets? Is because they don't realize they're propaganda machine. They're pure propaganda machine.
Pure.
There's
Absolutely. Yeah.
nothing genuine about Russian media. The way
No.
they do the reports is all manufactured. And we lived as a prop for their manufacturing. We've seen how the reporters act. As a matter of fact, the reporters, they even stopped the camera and they just filmed the reporter alone doing like this with his head. Just so
Yeah.
they cut the scenes and they make, for example, bin Azov, neo-Nazi.
Yeah. And like, he's
You know?
Moroccan. How's he a Nazi? It's like,
I remember I told the reporter this, and he didn't like it. But this is not the same reporter. He came for Paul Yuri. They brought me an Arabic guy from Jordan working for
yeah, I was
RT
going to talk
Arabic.
about that. They use like your regional news reports or the dialect or your language. They're clever. They bring these guys in to resonate with the
Yeah,
region.
yeah, exactly. And they realize because they have, unfortunately, in this Arab region, Russia still has big influence. The Russian media outlets are not banned here. As a matter of fact, I go outside. There's still big publications of RT on the street and advertisements. And I'm shocked. Yeah, I'm shocked where I am. So they bring this guy, Jordanian guy. He starts asking me some pretty provocative questions in Arabic. So, how many grandmothers have you killed? Have you seen the videos? Have you seen the videos? I was defending. We didn't attack. You guys came in and started to bomb us. We couldn't
Yeah,
bomb
yeah.
ourselves. I literally said this, and I could you not. That was taken out from the interview. I could you not. The only part they kept is from my early life.
You made them
Me
angry, don't
talking
you
to
remember? They came
I
in and
did make
standing
them
up me and
angry.
went, "You need to be better than him. He's pissed us off."
Yeah, that made them angry. The guy at the end I was like, thank you. And he didn't refuse to even shake my hand. He was so pissed off.
You were full on with him. I
Because
was like,
the argument of you destroying Mariupol and murdering is just
yeah.
smashed when you tell them we were inside defending. We cannot bomb ourselves. Hello, people. We can't bomb ourselves.
They don't just murder people, they murder the English language too. Mercenary.
Yeah.
war crimes. They just take it apart, and it's just it
Cook,
really is.
neo-Nazi,
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
barbarian.
yeah. You're a Nazi. No, I'd know if I was a Nazi. It's like, I'm not
I'm
sure.
from the UK. My country fought against the Nazis.
I don't know. I don't think I am. Are we the good guys? It's like,
Winston Churchill, Nazi. Winston Churchill. You remember heard that one?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So far, I know Winston Churchill, Condoleezza Rice, the Black Witch of
Condoleezza
America.
Rice, and they have this manufactured version of the history. Even their news reporters believe in this, that actually Russia was the one that liberated people against the Nazis from World War II.
The psychiatrist woman. Oh, you pissed her off good and proper before the trial. The one that came out with the Ferrero Rochers and
Oh
you.
yeah, I did piss her
Oh,
off. I did piss her off. She
they're
didn't get. She was
questioning
like,
me.
"You're
What did you
young.
get?
You're a young man. What are you doing here? You're killing our babies. I'm not killing anybody. They're coming to attack us. We didn't attack. I was there since day one." And she just lost her mind, going at me. She lost it. She was not even going at like the subject. She's going at me personally. You're sick. You're mentally ill. Look at you. Look at your face. I
And
left
then
that
she came
office
out.
with
She went,
depression.
he'll understand. And I was like, what? Don't bring me into this. I don't know what you just said.
Yes.
I have no idea what you just said. What, Brahim, what have you done? It's like
She was
she was fuming. And she'd ask stupid questions like the psychiatrist before the trial would say things like, would you work with the black man? And I'd be like,
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, I remember. I remember this. She asked me the same question, and I was like, "I'm Moroccan. I'm not even white.
would
I'm
you
North
work with
African. I'm
a
North African
colored manager? And I was going, yeah, I'm from London,
from
girl.
London." You used to tell me
Like,
this. Yeah.
shit, half my school is either black or brown or what, white. And I said, my last boss was Indian. I said, I don't give a class, And then she said something really bizarre, which was like, "Do you read Russian literature?" I was like, "No,
Oh yeah. Oh
I don't
yeah.
read that,
I
Gash."
kid you not. I kid you not. They love their Russian literature there a lot.
Oh,
They keep talking days and days.
Russia
Russian
stayed World
literature.
War II, 400,000 casualties. That's all the Allies had, apparently. And I was just trying not to get angry like you, just going,
They're just false. They read their books, their history books are just pure propaganda. God forbid. Now what they teach in their schools right now, it's atrocious, probably.
it is. Now they're trying to teach the occupied territories as well with the re-education centers and stuff, taking the kids and children. So,
It's
it's
proper
really bad.
re-education for concentration camps. This is what people don't realize.
It's,
Yeah.
it's bizarre. Yeah, we had to take a quick break there, but we're back. Yeah, the exchange. Well, that was quite a surprise, to be fair. We were settling in for the day. I don't know what you were doing.
Doing what you're doing. There's not much to do.
Hey, shit,
Doing
this is me.
exactly the same thing as you're doing. Just
Ah,
sitting down, looking, staring at the wall or the roof. So yeah, that was quite a shock actually. Well, I was quite optimistic all the time. I was all every telling everybody that one day we're gonna have our chance. It's not gonna be forever. I was delusionally believing in this.
yeah.
So the day came and that nice guard came. He opened the door and we're like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Pack your clothes. You're gonna go." Let's just look my friend, and my friend instantly realized that it could be it. And then I asked the guard, "What's up?" He said, "I can't tell you." He's such a nice guy, by the way, that he went a little bit further to sell and then he said it out loud.
Think you might be getting exchanged.
Yeah, remember? He
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that.
yeah. We skipped out to the cell, and I remember getting outside, and it all changed very, very quickly.
Yeah, to Freddie, I had a plastic bag with the papers from the prosecution, which they took from us, by the way, because they don't want to show that.
No, no,
I had
no.
because I wanted to have it as evidence
I
for
had
them, and
in
they
my
took it.
back as well, my back of my jeans, and they found that and give me a good.
Ah,
That's why I got beaten up on the side of my.
ah,
Yeah, they
because
ran
they
me into a
found
bar or something, and but I saw the same camouflage. It was our friends from the black
Rush
side.
Russian.
Oh, was it?
The
Yeah,
guy
yeah, the slightly
was Russian.
greeny. Yeah.
Was Russian because I could see from the down of the plastic bag Russia here
Oh,
on the side.
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
put
Russia,
it
I
in.
see Russia, and I see boots, different boots like Russian army standard. And It's probably from military police, probably. So
Ah,
they uh they took pictures of our faces, if you remember. They took us outside and lined us up into
yeah.
this truck, and they took pictures of our faces. This guy with a beard, if you remember, it looked a little
Yeah, I
Caucasian.
remember. Distinctly remember there was a mixture of people with the guys in blue, the blue combats from the prison, uh,
Yeah,
some other guys, and like so I didn't see the Russians there. I just saw the guys from the black site were there because we were being split up, weren't we? So we were all
yeah.
must have gone together. We picked up Aiden. We were bound in like caterpillar position, in stress position, and then somewhere through there, we sat down and we got so hot waiting. We were split up from the Ukrainians that were going on the exchange, and then we went on that journey from hell from like 4 o'clock in the
Painful.
afternoon
Even
to
before we were stuck with the Ukrainians with our part, and during that exchange battle, by the way, our battalion commander was there with us as well. We were in a human chain, just lined up, just literally kicked inside the truck and forced into like this position to the one in front, in front. And the pressure was mounting up that you couldn't breathe because it's like 10 people in front. So it was so painful. And if you remember, our friend, our Swedish friend, was screaming in agony because his leg was broken and didn't heal properly. So people were like on him, and he was screaming in agony, if
screaming.
you remember.
And he's
And
6'7". He's a
yeah,
big
massive
unit.
guy, very
Yeah,
big guy. The guard came to him and he electrocuted him. He tased him actually so he can shut up. And he was like, "Do you want some more? Do you want some more?" And I remember because I have PTSD from electrocution. Actually, my legs started to shake uncontrollably when I heard the guy getting like
yeah.
tased right next to me. Like right next to me, my ears. I could hear the electricity going popping, and I started to shake. And he was like, "Why are you shaking?" Nothing. I think I'm just cold. You don't want to play chances with them. You don't want to show your weakness with them because they will play with that. This is the lesson we learned.
Just
Once
the one where you
they
said it. Well, I got electrocuted for not being a Shakhtar Donetsk fan. I just went West.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. We need to tell them this. This just a quick one, by the way. We were at the prosecutor's office, and they were asking us these provocative, stupid questions. What color do you like? Are you a fan of Shakhtar Donetsk? Do you like Messi, Ronaldo? And we were just like this. And when you say you don't like Shakhtar or Donetsk, and he told me to translate it, and I was like, he doesn't like Shakhtar Donetsk in Russian. He was like,
Yeah.
what did I do?
What team do you support? West. That was what it was. It was just like I mean, there you just hear it going. Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible. And they had those same cattle prods on the journey up to Rostov Don. So we didn't. I remember being in and out sleeping. But when we got to the airport, I was pretty shocked when the hoods came off. We didn't look as good as we did before we left. I was
Yeah.
bleeding. My head was scarred, and scratched. All
Yeah,
the guys had lost
I
hair.
had here for some time, even when I came back from that those plat from the tape, like becoming sharp and digging into my nerves. I had like difficulties like moving my fingers.
Yeah.
That's how deep that thing dug into my hand.
And
So
Alex's
painful.
face.
Oh wow, what the hell happened to him? They just like tied down the tape so tight around
Yeah.
his head
You couldn't
the
see
blood
like
circulation the blood circulation was not going up, so it just like potent.
it looked like that Hitch. You know the film Hitch, where he has that
Yeah,
allergic reaction.
actually I
It
was
looked like
actually I
that.
was I actually told him he looked like Megamind like his head.
I was going,
It
you're
was
right. I was going,
barefoot.
okay, I'm
Yeah, it was barefoot. I remember I was laughing, laughing and laughing because I told him it was like a stereotype of a hillbilly just walking barefoot in the airport.
Yeah. He said it
And
was, I mean, it was just incredible. I had no idea where we were going. I mean, I think we were talking ourselves
we
into
had no idea. We knew it was an exchange, but
we're
we
being
had no
summed
idea.
on. We're being summed
Yeah.
on.
We were joking the entire time that they're gonna take us for an exchange and throw us off a plane or something. No
Yeah,
parachute. U-turn,
30,000
go.
feet.
See, Sean Pinner fall without parachute.
Yeah, yeah. Good news. Six of you, five parachutes. One of you has no parachute. Yeah.
Oops, one
Oh.
fall. Looks like we had only no parachute. Everybody
Yeah,
followed.
yeah, yeah.
So we're like, are we gonna get executed this way or what? We arrive at the airport, we get lined up, then they take off the hoods and they're like, don't look up, keep looking down. Like,
Yeah.
huh? But we couldn't stop ourselves. We were just like, whoa, whoa, this
We
is an
haven't been to
airport,
the
dude.
toilet in 2 days. Can we go to
It
the
did,
toilet?
yeah, a proper toilet. That airport's so empty, so dead. There was nobody in there. It was just the guys from the Russian military police
Yeah.
with their horrible uniforms. We remember we had to go at their uniforms because awful
Yeah.
airsoft gear. So they were that team of Saudi, I guess, medical team
Yeah.
and one of the staff. But I saw their facial features and I was like, I connected the dots and I was like, they might be Iranian because Iran has good relations with Russia, so they
Yeah.
might be
Yeah.
Iranian too. So I was like, guys, be quiet, don't trust these guys. You remember?
You
And they
use
just checked.
some military experiment somewhere in Iran.
Yes, yeah, they checked us. They
Nanobot.
checked. Oh yeah, nanobots. We already have those. Unfortunately, that's one of the remnants from the black side. You get in.
Yeah, mine's
So
getting
we
triggered by something. We're just working out what it's going to get triggered by.
I just hear Zelensky and I turn into a cruise missile and I just fly out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Boris Johnson.
So
Oh.
the
Yeah, yeah.
Ukraine embassy. Oh, Zelensky died. you know.
Because no joke. I mean, we had Sputnik rammed up our nose. I had an injection. I
Yeah,
didn't know
we
what it
didn't
was in my
even know.
neck. Jokes aside, I mean, it's really serious. I mean, we make
We
light.
don't know.
You saw the first one. We make light of this stuff, but generally, I mean, it's pretty gruesome, scary, intense stuff. I mean, at the
It
time,
is. When you get injected with stuff you don't know
you
in
don't
a
know. Yeah.
environment around people they don't like and you don't like and you don't like the back, they don't like you and you don't like the back. It's really sketchy.
My telekinesis has got pretty good now, so it's sort of startled Larissa a bit now. But thanks for the Russians, I can sit on my armchair and grab the remote control, like using the phone. Thanks for
Yeah, that's what it
the
felt like. They took us to that like hospital and they just kept ramming us with
yeah.
experiments and analytics and stuff, and they rammed us with Sputnik. It's like we were like mutants, you know, we're gonna turn to
Like that really
the mix.
hurt. I mean, that was like it was like grab the back of your head, your head's out, and it's like and
Yeah,
you go,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, exactly.
have a nice
I
day.
am Sergei. I love Putin, Russia now.
I don't really have much faith in their medical abilities, to be honest. They
No,
don't
I
know
am
many
extremely
stuff.
worried because actually the Russians have research in chemical warfare for quite a while, and they've used it to assassinate people. So it's quite
Yeah,
concerning
including
what they
Britain, to be
inject us.
fair.
Yeah,
Novichok.
yeah. So
We could
it's
talk all day.
quite.
I've got to move on and keep it going. So we got on a plane, and I was pretty impressed because Aiden Aslin was on the plane just stretching out in his lazy boy on Saudi Air Force One with all the trim carpet and the which was pretty amazing because I never was able to smoke on a plane ever.
That's exactly what the point. What I wanted to tell you. I want to say also we were pushing it because we didn't know how far we could push it, like how much luxuries we could get. Remember? But we
Yeah.
were just asking there and there, and we're like, cigarette? Oh, cigarette! Hell yeah, give me more.
Yeah.
Smoking on the
Yeah.
plane, chain smoking. And then we pushed it a little bit. Food, yes. They brought us like those fancy food,
Shawarma I mean, it was amazing
and
food.
shrimp, and all sorts of stuff. And we
Oh.
were just ramming our faces.
And then he came out and said, "You're free," and I was like really ecstatic. I didn't want to get out of the chair because I was so institutionalized. It was like, "You're free. If the door's closed, we've got to get out of Russian airspace." And I was thinking, I don't want to move. I'm so institutionalized now.
I don't know what's
I
gonna
don't want to
happen
go.
next.
You know.
Honestly, I didn't even trust him, even the way there. For you guys, it was quite different, but for me, I didn't trust him because I knew I had
Yeah.
something in the back that they're gonna take me back here,
I think
and
the point Roman Abramovich came in was just the icing on the cake, really, of this crazy journey we'd been on. It was like, hey man, you look like Roman Abramovich. I am Roman Abramovich. What the fuck are you
I was
doing?
like an episode from The
Are you
Simpsons.
serious?
And he asked me this question. I was like, "So after all of this, you wanted to go back to Ukraine? Why not?" He was like, okay. And then he went back and he texted someone to his phone. So I feel like he texted the handlers that I'm gonna
Yeah,
go back.
he let us take pictures with him and stuff, which we weren't allowed because somebody went to the media quite quickly. So we didn't get him off his PA too quickly. But I'd love to see those pictures one day. Maybe when Abramovich and his PA watches this, they may go, "Oh, I think it's good. We can send them those pictures now." You know, I always get this question as well. I mean, about Roman Abramovich, he's Russian at the end of the day. And I say, listen, man, there's plenty of rich people that don't do anything with their money and just safeguard it. He saved 150 Ukrainians, including 10 foreigners. I said, no matter what you think about him, there's families now, 150 families now, with their kids. And he had a part of getting them out for whatever reason,
We can talk about it at a different time, but I have a sub. I think he's doing this as a goodwill move, so some of his assets get unfrozen from the European Union and the sanctions. I think so.
Well, I think we're going to do this again because we'll get Vlad on and we'll talk him into it and press going on because I sure people would love to hear from Vlad. But when he's fit and ready, I mean, he's only just.
Sure, he can take his time. He can take his time for sure.
We'll get him on when he's ready. Um, yeah, so we got to Saudi, which was interesting, and I'm going to skip through that because really, want to hear from you about what's happened to you since you've been exchanged.
So after being returned, was quite tense actually. Fast forward Saudi Arabia, but just in short, for another time, I want to say that like they handled me quite differently than you guys.
It did
Uh,
look it.
they separated me from you guys actually, and they didn't allow me to go out and talk to you guys actually. Um, they had one guy was always with me, and I wasn't even allowed to use my phone. No internet, no nothing. Then I get just pretty much with the embassy staff escorted, and the embassy staff start to ask me these sketchy questions. Moroccan embassy staff, why you do this? Why you do this? Why are you doing this? Like for you guys, we seem like you're heroes. I mean, the embassy representative were like greeting you guys and stuff. My embassy staff arrived a day late, if you remember,
Yeah.
and when they arrived, they were asking me these questions of why are you doing this? Why you do this? Why you do this? Are you radical? Why you do this? And all this sketchy questions. I couldn't trust them. So I get like pretty much escorted back. I get immediately grabbed into a room inside in the airport when I arrive, and I just get interrogated. Pretty sketchy questions. I don't want to get deep into this for my safety, but I get pretty much
Yeah.
provocative questions that are seem to be leading me into a dead end. You know, those type of questions that are trying to label you as stuff.
Where you just come from is happening again to a degree, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but it's just labeling. I mean, I'm telling you no, and you just keep digging and digging and digging, and just I'm in that condition, and you seem like you're convincing me. Just say it. Yes, just say it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Because I had this guy. They brought this young guy, young man, and just to kind of relate with me, and he was doing it this way. He was like, "Oh, it's pretty cool. You can join the army here as well. It's pretty cool. I like this stuff with guns and stuff. Yeah, I like this stuff. I'm also like this. I like guns a lot and stuff. So yeah, it's hell yeah." It was like this type of bait, like questions trying to get me to say stuff, and I just was smoking my cigarette, and my hand was shaking because I didn't know what's going to do because I could easily end up in prison here. Still, I can easily end up in prison, by the way. So smoking and stuff, and luckily my dad shows in. I don't know how he managed to break in, and I hug him and stuff, and then we get driven home. And after that, the media was there everywhere, and I just tried to ignore them as much as possible. They took some pictures of me and some uncomfortable, short conversations, and then they refused to talk more. And then I remember I had a post on Facebook saying, "I miss you guys. I hope to see you guys soon."
Yeah, yeah. We
And for
was
that
all doing the
face,
same thing. We was all going back to our
yeah.
countries, just trying to find each other once we got back to the countries. It was like,
Yeah,
I need
because
to
I
check on
didn't know
Brahim.
who's
He's not
alive and
gone
who's
quite enough.
dead. I wanted to check also who's for my friend is still alive and still dead. So I
Yeah.
made this post that I'm out. And the intelligence service guys showed up the next day and they were like, "So what does this mean? If this translated that you will go back to Ukraine. You will go back to Ukraine. I want to go back to Ukraine." And the media here, which is also government controlled, just translates it in Arabic and it says totally different meaning. It says, "I'm gonna go back to Ukraine, guys. I'll see you in the fight," or something like this. And I told to the intelligence guys, this is not correct. This is not like how it is in the original version in English. They were like, okay, no more media. Don't say anything on the media. Be quiet. Don't cause any troubles. Don't cause any troubles. Like this, like three guys in the living room. She's dangerous. They leave, and then fast forward, I keep getting followed around. To this day, I get followed around from time to time. Recent one actually that was pretty obvious. I mean, I get followed. So the first instance was when I went to this park with friends, and I just shook the hand of this guy, and I left. And the guy came back after 15 minutes, and he dragged my friend. He didn't want to talk to me, and he told my friend that the cops stopped him, and they kept asking him questions. How do you know this guy? How do you know this guy? You know this guy from? Where do you know this guy from? And he was like terrified. So I leave. Fast forward, they keep blackmailing me through my dad. We're watching him. We're watching him. He shouldn't do anything stupid. We're watching him. Fast forward, I'm sitting in this coffee shop with friends, and I remember there's a table right next to me. Table's empty. They come and sit right next. Two tall guys, fit, military height, Casio G-Shocks, just dressed like civilian police officers, with the G-Shocks, the
They
matching
still wear a
G-Shocks.
uniform. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the Casio G-Shocks was quite a giveaway because I'm a paramilitary guy myself.. I kind of know the wear.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So there's this thing, this unspoken code in coffee shops. Most of the time in coffee shops,
We've lost him a bit, so we'll just wait for him to get back.
Jesus, I just pressed on hang up the call,
But
and
these intelligence guys were coming, and then what the
and then just dude, I bet you were worried.
was that? Where's he gone? Where's he gone?
Life is so funny for us. It's just, and then those intelligence.
God. And I was thinking, holy shit, that just oh my God.
Did I witness someone die in front of me again?
I was like, that's my Pulitzer Prize out the window.
But
Oh.
so I was saying that those intelligence guys, there's an unspoken code about being in a coffee shop is that you don't order too many fancy things because it's too overpriced. They ordered the most expensive thing on the menu, two like cakes, and they just put them there. They sit down and they just look at each other, looking extremely uncomfortable. Obviously, since they're sitting in a close proximity, we noticed this, me and my friends, because I've been telling them about stories of being followed. And my friends are like, like just like this. And the guys are like, didn't say a single word. At some point, they just stood up and left. They haven't taken a single bite of the cakes.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's a bit suspect.
That's extremely sus. I don't know. Look, I hate to be the type of guy that say I'm being followed and being followed, but for that instance and the other instance that the guys with cops showing up to him and asking him is the ones I can think of that I surely know.
It is crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, and the situation is you can't, they're not giving you a passport. They've not arrested you.
I'm not under arrest. I'm being told that when I go, when I did my passport application, that it's taking too long because we have a problem in the system, and it's
Oh, the
bollocks. It's
system.
bollocks. It's bollocks because I've been waiting for for 3 years, almost 3 years since I got out. After I get out, 4 months, I applied for a new passport. So they're saying this. I filed a lawsuit with a lawyer because it's a human right, and if they don't do
Yeah.
their job and they don't justify it, it's illegal. It's pretty much straight up illegal. I should have won that easily with flying colors. They call the judge and tell her, I kid you not, to put in the trial result. The sentence, the verdict is, we're not convinced with the conditions of your court case because you did not spell things correctly, as if I did a typo. I hired, just to keep you in context, one of the most fanciest lawyers in Casablanca. She's in the city center. To tell her that she did a typo, when my lawyer looked at this, she was like,
It's
fast
what
forward.
did they say in Russia? It's bigger than us. With the when you
Yeah,
were arguing the fact that the definition of mercenary, he says when you first met the lawyer there, he says because you had a lawyer there too, didn't you? We didn't. You had a quite a lawyer.
yeah.
He said to you something along the lines of, "Well, the definition of mercenary doesn't really stand."
Yep.
And then about 2 weeks later, he come back in and went, "I can't do much about that. It's from the top."
Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what
You know, a
happened.
Nazi and
This
a
is
mercenary. What the
ex
fuck just
exa
happened?
exactly what happened here. I get just a verdict, and my lawyer looks at me and she's like, you know, and then she started to tell me when I have a meeting with her, and I was like, what we should we do? She's like, we can do another court like case again and figure it out. Maybe do it the same way and see what they're gonna do. But she said, I'm worried about my safety. Actually, she mentioned this. Said, I hope I don't get put in jail in this, and had this like small like laugh, and I was like, haha, well, haha, you know. Fast forward, he just stopped talking to me, replying, just
Yeah.
refused. I showed up and she didn't want to meet me. She just sent one of the other guys, and then I realized what's going on.
Ugh, you got to be careful, buddy. You really have got to be careful. It's fair to say that you're not, to tell people that you're not in like prison but you are sort of a fancy open arrest, I guess,
Yeah, it is.
without the
It is
trial.
pretty much a house. It is actually pretty much a house arrest, because in house arrest, you can get out, but you get like this inspected leave where the people follow you around, and you it's exactly the same thing. I'm not free. I'm not free. I can't speak on the media. I can't say anything. As a matter of fact, I'm being followed for my words, and they're watching everything. I did a report just a couple of months ago with the BBC, and I couldn't even speak much in there because I knew the implications
Yeah.
could be dangerous. And it's crazy that they were aware of this. I mean, we went to the office where they do the passports, and I asked them again. I was like, "What about my passport? My passport." My dad just asked them the question, "Did you see the report?" They were like, "Yes, we are monitoring this." So,
I know what's I know cannot push the boundaries as much as we want to. I don't want to do that. Talking about Russia's one thing, but don't. I'm not going to badmouth anybody. I'm talking about the situation in Morocco because
sure.
you
The
know now.
best I can do is let my message out here in a
Yeah. What do you want
neutral
to say,
tone.
basically?
So, yeah. So basically, I'm seeking help. If there's any professional help, any jurisdictional help outside, because I feel pretty much helpless now. I'm stuck here, and the law doesn't work here anymore for me. It's just they're not using the law, they're breaking the law, and I have no help with that.
It's a bureaucratic nightmare, really.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Look, man, I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm certainly pushing your story, and I'm certainly going to talk to people. We are raising money for your legal fees, which we're working on. We just started that, and that's got off to a good start. We're trying to raise your profile a bit, and without sort of crossing some lines, and
Sure.
so.
Safely do everything. Yeah.
I'm gonna end on a good note. I love talking to you. You kept me going for it. Your humor's amazing. And I hope some of that's rubbed off on plenty of people now they've seen you. So thanks very much.
Hopefully.
We've talked for an hour and 10. I could talk for another 2 hours with you about it.
It felt like nothing.
I can't wait to come and see you, man. I can't wait to meet up. We got Vlad. The three of us are back together, so it's like it'll be
A
really good.
team is back.
We're back. We're back. Thanks very much, mate. Have a good evening, and
Appreciate it.
see you,
Thank you,
buddy.
everybody, for watching. Have
Take
a
it
good
easy.
one.
Bye.
Bye.